As incessant rainfall continues to plunge at least 9 states in the country, struggling with floods and flood-like situation into deep crisis, leaving close to 250 people dead and displacing hundreds of thousands. The country is also staring at an imminent water crisis in the near future. India is among the 17 countries which are home to a quarter of the world's population, facing extremely high water stress, close to quote-unquote day zero conditions. That is when the taps run dry. This according to a latest report from the World Resources Institute. Tonight on India Ahead at 9, we take a look at this extremely important issue. Water stress is the biggest crisis. In fact, no one is talking about it. Its consequences are in plain sight in the form of food insecurity, conflict, migration and financial instability as well. That makes water conservation the need of the hour. Of course, it's very important for survival at the very basic level. Among the 4 states that have experienced extremely heavy rainfall this month, the status of water stored in their reservoirs is vastly different. But we do understand how grim the situation is at the moment. Before we start discussing the issue at hand, a quick word on reservoirs. It's a natural or artificial place where water is collected and stored for use, especially water for supplying to a community, irrigation, land, and also furnishing power. And most countries in the world store water for later use like that. Why are some states back home doing well in storing this excess water and some failing? And what can be done to address this issue immediately? Now, UN data shows 2 billion people, that's a quarter of the world's population, now use water much faster than the planet can replenish these natural sources like groundwater. Hence, the discussion becomes even more important for not any specific region, but for the country on the whole. And joining me this evening on the panel is Mr. K. Siddhartha, who's an eminent environmentalist, joining me here in the studio. Mr. K. Siddhartha, let me start by asking you, what's the reason for these vast differences when it comes to storing water? If you look at the statistics of the southern states, for instance, that's much lower, as low as 46%, for instance, in Kerala this year as compared to last.
There can be 3 sets of reasons when you're going to compare it with the western part of the country. One of them is, of course, the amount of rainfall and the rainfall that is going to be coming in short bursts of sorts. That is reason number 1. Second is our dam management strategy. All in all, we have not been able to manage the water in the dams. Whether it comes to flooding of the dam, whether it goes into water accumulation also, and whether it goes into the overall management. The third is associated with whatever that may have happened last year, that is, or this year even, in the beginning of it, March, April and May.
Right.
That is, most of the water table goes below. Now, when it goes on to go below the level of the channel of the dam, below the bed of the dam, then all the water that goes on to get accumulated in the reservoir, that seeps into it, that infiltrates into it, and that is one of those factors responsible for it. These are the 3 major factors, possible set of factors which may be responsible for a certain type of a spatial difference that exists in the water level of the reservoirs between West India and that of South India.
Right. Though I think Mr. K. Siddhartha has some reservations about the rocks in the Western Ghats, I think being the hardest. Do you have something to add?
Yes, they are basaltic formations which formed during Cretaceous times, and there had been flows and flows of it. We do not go on to classify rocks the way it can go on to be hardest and the softest. It's basalt. It has a different trait. Granite, gneiss and archean
prone to landslides?
Yes, it can be prone to landslides, but the most landslide prone rocks happen not to be basalt, but it goes on to be certain things like
I think we're digressing. So the next part was in fact talking and exploring of solutions. Mr. K. Siddhartha, one thing that I came across in doing the research is something which is called the coastal reservoir technology, which has already been adopted by various other countries, including the Netherlands, Australia, even China and Singapore. Are we already implementing this? If not, then should we? Because looking at the vast coastline that the country has.
Well, not exactly. We have some tidal power plants, but we haven't gone to go full throttle with it. It will require some amount of time to adopt this new type of a technology. But I'll go on to reiterate this point here, Sana, that is, we do not require to go for a Western technology for protecting our water resources. We have 8,000 years old civilization which have practiced ingenious methods of water conservation which is based on local wisdom. So you have several such type of local wisdom schemes and methods in Tamil Nadu, several such type of things in Karnataka, Kerala as well. Now, some time back, people used to be managing all their water resources in the same manner.
Right.
What we have done right now, we have centralized our water resource management, and we still don't manage the reservoirs in the manner that they require to be managed. And that is the basic cause of the conflict that is going to be taking place, coupled with the fact that indeed we had a population explosion.
Right.
So, what if we can go to spruce up all of the local wisdom based water harvesting technologies and water collection efficiency, if we can go to increase it, we will
Right.
not going to have any problem at all even in the future.
So we have to work on the existing systems, you're saying, and make them more efficient for the moment.
May I?
Well, Mr. K. Siddhartha, please, yes.
See, it's a very basic and very pertinent question that have been raised. See, the basic conflict that has taken place here is that most of the children had been taught in a Western style manner. Most of this education goes on to show that the only way that they can go on to manage their water resources is by the British method of having built dams, reservoirs and all of it. While the basic things like what we were talking about, that is reservoir management, water harvesting technologies, Tingal, Dings,
Right.
Zohar and Ahars, Pines, all of these going to be comprising local names. They have been completely lost sight of. You will not going to find them mentioned in any school book anywhere at all. The only basic part is, well, this is the basics of it, that you can go to
Yes.
harvest water. But unless the school children are taught how exactly that what exactly have been the water harvesting systems and they have been ingenious, and I repeat this word, ingenious methods.
Right.
Nowhere
When we
in the
all
world that
studied
you can
in
go
the,
to find
you
it.
know, for instance, the Harappa civilization,
Yes,
how
that's
they
right,
used to
that's
conserve
right.
water. They're very innovative ways that we can really go back and learn from. And also, I think what children need to be taught is, you know, greenhouses, how they can be built and how people can conserve water and make additional spaces in the constructed area itself.
You
Mr.
just
G.
need to go to the
Sundarajan.
very basics.
Yes.
Very basics. He's
Mr.
correct.
G. Sundarajan. All times. I'm sorry, I'm completely running out of time. Thank you so much, Mr. K. Siddhartha.